Hello all. I thought that I would share with you a commission that I finished for someone. It is the USS Columbia. It is a ship that, according to them, is 100 years old and was in a Starfleet mothball shipyard. And it was quote unquote stolen and is being used by, according to Starfleet, nefarious folk to attack Cardassians and, I don't know, threats. Basically, Section 31 stole this ship and is basically, as I understand it, blackmailing the captain into doing what they want done. And again, not great. Tilting. But anyway, its battle damage is part of the point of the ship. It looks like hell. Excuse me, I apologize for the poorness of my filming. But it is, it's got 24th century engines, shielding, and weaponry, but it still looks like shit. Pardon the French, but it is meant to look like this, even though it's in really good shape overall. The exposed nacelle has extra shielding. So the design that I was told was that this is basically a Starfleet version of the Millennium Falcon. Meaning, what a piece of junk. She may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts. And he didn't want this to be pristine or clean, so he wanted some battle damage, and he was not specific. He just said, I want battle damage, no hull penetrations, no exposed hull penetrations. So I asked, what about hull paneling, plating? He's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Not too much. It's not supposed to look like, excuse me, I believe the USS Majestic, which basically had its entire front end sheared off, blown off in the Dominion War. But it was supposed to have been really beat up. So, yeah, I did what I thought would be a 100-year-old ship. So we've got carbon scoring around the phasers, basically from a ship that was in a hell of a firefight. We've got that it received emergency repairs. We've got the fact that its warp coils are exposed, and it was basically brought back into Federation space, and Starfleet quickly decommissioned it and dumped it in mothballs. So I was fortunate to have a client who said, I trust you. Go with what you think is best. And it's wonderful to hear, but it's also kind of scary when you hear it, because it's like, well, yeah, but you're still paying me. So, just in case. So I still was going back and forth with him and asking him, saying, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And he's like, hey, I told you. I trust you. And what you're doing looks really good. Keep it up. So, here it is. The finished USS Columbia. And, yeah, I'm actually very proud of her. I'm proud of how she turned out. I'm going to pop her off here for a moment and give a view. Excuse me, sorry about that. And give a view of her underside. And that would be my Gomez. And that would be me moving the display base, sorry. So, yeah. There she is. And all of her beat up, blown up, repaired, and back into fighting shape, but not looking like it. USS Columbia. And the warp coils are scratch built, except for one piece. Excuse me. But the coils themselves I made as scratch built, and I'll tell you that was actually the hardest part of this whole build, was coming up with, let me put this back on. The hardest part was coming up with the coils, coming up with the proper shape and everything to make it look, whoops, there we go, to make it look right. So, yes, thank you for joining me. I'm very proud of this. It's, I think it turned out exceptionally well. So, oh, yes. And I realized that it is not, quote unquote, canon to have an officer's lounge back there. Technically, excuse me, technically there is one back there. It just doesn't have giant windows, but the tiny little slit of window just looks stupid for this ship. So I added a big one. And yeah, that is it. This is a long video, but I hope you enjoy what I am sharing with you. So, as always, be excellent to each other, and thank you very much for joining me. Have a great one.